Well, I've had the privilege recently of talking with some of the previously afflicted by the Puppet Master and checking on their recoveries, so I think we're going to cut over to the footage of those interviews and just take a look and see how everyone is doing. Shall we? Well, hello everybody. It's been a very busy time for the British Armed Forces over the last month. We've had several successful large-scale events, including the defeat of the Puppet Master himself. Following this victory echoing throughout the BAF, we here at the Royal News Network have gone out of our way to present some questions to those who had been taken as puppets, both to try and get some closure, but also some insight into what may have occurred inside the minds of those afflicted by the Puppet Master's strings. However, to shake things up a bit, we're going to go outside the studio to check in on our lovely interviewees. So, let's transition out to the field, where Admiral Gurlz will be conducting these short one-question interviews. Shall we?
Okay, our first question is for Commodore Golisopod95. Golly, the question we brought to you today, I'm sure it won't be easy to answer, but the people would like to know, how did it feel being puppeteered?
Well, at first I didn't know what was going on. I was very dizzy. Before I knew it, I just had this massive headache, and it was just like this long period of just a constant headache. And then when it finally was over, we were outside the castle, and I didn't really know what was going on. Me and Tiger were very confused. Everyone else had to kind of fill us in on what happened. So I wish I can give more information, but that's all I can give.
Understandable. Thank you for that. Our second question is for Admiral SaintlySithem. Saintly, it was noticed that you managed to break free of the Puppet Master's control even when he seemingly faltered during the raid our heroes had operated on his lair. Do you feel like the Puppet Master still has some influence on you, like a residual mark or effect, despite having been freed?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I feel the Master made a permanent mark on everyone. I mean, some people don't realize the brainwash that they and countless others endured. I think the biggest factor was how the Puppet Master used people for their own goal. That kind of hate only spreads negative emotion, and I'm happy he let a lot of us free after he found out how tight-knit our group will always be and how we'll always stand together.
I couldn't have put it better myself. Thank you for your insight. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
The third question on our short list is for our one and only Major General Blueberry Bud. Blueberry, it seems that many of those who were under the control of the Puppet Master had some levels of amnesia of the events that occurred. Do you remember any of the acts that the Puppet Master had you carry out while you were at the mercy of his will?
Some vivid images here and there, but mainly I just remember the red symbols popping up on my screen and then just mainly fog. Like, I could kind of see through it, but like I couldn't exactly focus on it. Like someone put like a filter over my eyes. Or that may just be something else, who knows. But either way, I just couldn't really see clearly. But I remember like towards the end of that Bomber IO event, it just looked like just some like a very small window of clarity, which allowed me to actually like just sort of, and in that clarity, I managed to just throw the game so the heroes could win. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much for that insight. I appreciate
Mhm.
your time. Question 4 is directed to Colonel Spades. Colonel, what were your feelings? What were your feelings towards the Puppet Master after having been taken as one of his puppets?
I mean, I have to say I hate the guy. I'm upset. You know, he took over my mind, my will, and I think anyone would hate whoever did that to them.
Nearly wrapping up with question number 5 for our wonderful Captain Zaraka. When you were under the Puppet Master's control, was there a particular target you wanted to convert to the dark side, for lack of better terms?
It's a good question. While I was under the control, from what I can remember, I don't recall having a moment if there was anyone in particular I wanted to have converted. I just know there was like hearing like orders from my puppet master as far as for like still continuing on like everything's normal, and any mention of like any kind of rebellion is kind of was just kind of like ignore and pretend that everything is still fine. So as far as like anyone particular in that one to convert, it hasn't like occurred to me from what I remember.
Finally, to end the set of interviews where the puppet masters failed attempt at control began, we have on us Vice Admiral Tiger Lily. Tiger, now you were the first puppet to be taken by the puppet master, and you were the last to be freed. I think we can leave with you what I think to be the most important question. Do you think this will be the end of our trouble with the puppet master, or is there any speculation we may have to deal with him again in the future?
Well, it's hard to say really. It was all such a blur, but if I'm being completely honest, then I would say that someone who's that driven, angry, and determined to destroy us, it would be foolish to think that we've seen the last of this evil bastard.
Right. Yes, his influence was quite strong. Took a lot of our peers. But I appreciate you for the insight. Thank you very much. Well, having completed our interviews, I think it's safe to send you all back to the studio for a final goodbye. Thank you for joining me on this informative adventure through the minds of the puppets.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in on this special insider look into the minds of the puppeteered. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay hydrated, and happy Halloween.
And now, into Air Chief Marshal Friendlysoul with our monthly financial update.
Thank you for that. Welcome to the financial section. Very simple, very easy this time. First part, we've got most of the Patreon-related stuff. You can see on the green is, as always, the subscriptions we have on different worlds for our various posters. The yellow, the assets this time, is an AW169 helicopter that we purchased. It's in the hands of our lovely engineers doing their work, making it actually presentable to put in on our maps. There's a lot of background work the engineers do. It's not always appreciated, but here's a shout out to them. And finally, you can see the cash prizes, which is on the right. Over there, as you can notice, we're missing the Quest 2. That is because, as we mentioned before, there was an issue with the Quest 2. It had to be returned to us, and we had to resend it. So the cost of the Quest 2 is going to show up next month, which is November. For this month, it's just the cash winnings. Finally, Patreon netted us $390-ish this month. Next slide, please. All right. Keeping this simple, blue part is basically the cost of both making and sending out the products from our store. You can see this is our bafrp.com store. So the red is the money we've made from it. Those are the total money that people have paid for our stuff, not the full profits. Those ones will be shown right at the bottom. But before that, let's also mention the tiny yellow part, which doesn't have any values. It's barely $13 of PayPal having some costs that associated with using PayPal for us extra, which I couldn't add them to either of the graphs. And the bottom, as I just mentioned, for simplicity's sake, it's basic math, so you don't have to do it. $180 is what we made for the store. So overall, it's about $180 plus $390 for the Patreon together. So all of that is what we've made for this month. This is it, short and simple for the financial section. Back to the anchors.
All right, I think that about wraps everything up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this special edition of the Royal News Network. We will see you next time. Stay hydrated. And Lollicups, do you have anything to say to everyone before we leave?
I'll see y'all when I'll see ya.